All right, we are on air. Happy March 8th, everybody. This is a meeting to check in on active development tasks for Backed Up CMS. Before we get into tasks, quick update from the PMC. We have a signed agreement with Fastly for sponsorship. They've basically agreed to cover a wildcard domain for us. So anything.backedupcms.org, which is great. And we have an allocation of a certain number of dollars that we can use per year, which vastly exceeds probably anything we could possibly imagine at current rates, which is fantastic. But should we all of a sudden end up being super popular, we will need to keep an eye on that in the future. Okay, so next steps for that are we need to port the Fastly module from Drupal to Backdrop and get it set up on backedupcms.org, apa.backedupcms.org, and the forum site, and put the Drupal Fastly module on the localized site until the localized site gets moved to Backdrop. Okay, that's it for PMC updates. In the world of contributed projects, there are 2 new contrib projects since last week, Node Revision History and Entity UI. Thanks Doc Wilmot for working on those and anyone else who may have been involved. And there are a couple of new releases to existing Backdrop projects, including YouTube Field and iframe filter. So thanks everybody who worked on those. Next up, website development tasks on backedupcms.org. We are currently updating the modules, themes, and layout section. I think since last week, the only change was the addition of the add-ons page. So if anybody goes to backedupcms.org, you can now see we have only 5 top-level menu items: about, showcase, add-ons, support, and news. And under add-ons, we now have modules, themes, and layouts. But there's a new Backdrop add-ons page, which is just some content that I made up last week. If anybody wants to recommend improvements to that page, I'm all ears. We're also working on improving modules, themes, and layouts pages, but those are not ready for prime time yet, so we'll talk about them probably next week or whenever they're ready. The forum site, we have been requested to add a search box, which we will do. We also need to integrate styling of the search result pages, which hasn't been done yet. So that'll be added and committed to the Borg theme, which means it will also work for the API site and the main backedupcms.org site. So if we want search on either of those, we can do that as well. The main API site has its search is a little different. It does a autocomplete on function names, and then if there's no match, it falls back and does a search. So the search results there are already kind of styled. So I'll just have to make sure not to break those in the process. Okay, forum site, search box, next. Ding. Okay, so up next is progress on Backdrop CMS. It's been kind of a quiet week this past week. I don't know how much detail you want to go into, Nate, on these.
Yeah, not a whole lot going on. Well, actually, that's not true. There are a lot of things going on in the Backdrop issue queue. It's always lots of current comments and file issues being updated. But of the ones that we focus on for these meetings, there hasn't been a lot of activity on those particular items. There's still an outstanding issue regarding the database credentials change that went into 1.9. That one, we have a workaround in the issue, a pull request that adds a workaround, but we'd like to make it so that the user would be notified of the fact that a workaround is being used, because it's not very efficient to try logging in once and then failing and then trying to log in again to your MySQL server and then succeeding. So we need to tell the developer that their database credentials need to be updated. So I actually thought of something that might make that possible to implement a little easier. So we might see an update on that one. 2904 is that particular issue. And that's the main one that we have for outstanding major bugs in the 1.9 version. And if we can get that fixed, then it would be the stimulus for releasing 1.9.3. There's also a bunch of other issues that are tagged 1.9.3. You can check the GitHub issue tracker to get the list of those. For 1.10, the next minor version of Backdrop that will be coming out May 15th, we have a set of translation improvements, including making menu items translatable, which is issue 225. That one just needs a minor reroll, essentially. Thanks, Bjorn, for coming in and posting your feedback on that issue this past week. Config translation is issue 704. No recent updates there. There's still a pretty solid plan, but not much beyond a proof of concept in that issue. And then block translation, issue 2956. And that one is currently marked RTBC, which is totally awesome. I've put myself down as reviewing that as soon as possible. I think that was also Bjorn, actually, a week or two ago that's got that pull request ready. So thank you very much. Let's see. There's also a set of things to improve the enabling and finding of modules, themes, and layouts. I'm not going to recap those this week because there haven't been updates on those particular issues. Yeah, you can find them in the weekly agendas. Or you can check out the 1.10 issue tracker tag in GitHub to see a list of these issues, as well as all other issues that we'd like to do for 1.10. That's it for the product update, I think. Let's see, we don't have Jeff here this week.
Yeah, so. Jeff's not here. And there's nobody for a general discussion. I just pinged and Olaf is back from Africa, but tired and doesn't want to join. Jeff is fighting with rules. Everybody seems to be busy this week. So nothing super urgent. One thing I did notice, we had an issue a while ago for the managed displays pages, which changed when we put in the entity view mode module into core. We're missing tabs, and that issue got marked as fixed, but the tabs are not back in the latest version of core. So I wanted to take a stab at that and see what's missing there to get those things to show back up. Do you remember that at all? I remember talking about it in the issue, but I don't remember.
I'm in a similar state. I can remember that there was something brought up about it, and that I remember discussing it, but I can't remember what the outcome was.
Okay, I will take a look, see where we're at, and I'm going to open a new issue because the other one is marked as closed, but I'll reference it so we can figure out what happened. There's something that keeps bothering me, and every time I see it as I'm working on Backdrop, I'm like, oh, these tabs are still missing. I should think about it. And then I'm like, oh, I'm sure there's an issue. And then next time I see them, I'm like, oh, this is still bothering me. They're not here. And then I finally went and looked for the issue, and I couldn't find it. All right. I don't have anything else to add. I don't know if you have anything else to add.
No, let's keep it short and sweet.
Okay. Let's wrap it up then. Thanks, everybody, for possibly watching this later. And we will keep you up to date next week with more adventures as they happen.
All right. Goodbye.